where Allah is. A large number of Muslims, if this question was posed to them, they would give the wrong answer that goes against what the Quran established and what the Prophet brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they would say that Allah is everywhere. And what they mean by that, Allah is really everywhere, and not explaining it. Allah is here with us, and so forth and so on. And that's the wrong answer. What does the Quran say? Only the Quran about where Allah is. In the Quran, there are 7 ayat, 7, showing that it's been repeated so many times. 7 ayat describing to us where Allah is, in the same way that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is mustawin ala al-arsh. He said in the Quran subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is Allah, your Lord, Allah is the one who created the heavens, and He created the earth, and then He went above His throne. 7 ayat mention that. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 7 ayat. Islam didn't leave this to our imagination to figure out who Allah is, where Allah is. Does He come to the earth? Is He in the stomach of a mother? Does He have a mother? Islam didn't leave it like that for us. 7 ayat that clearly establish He's over His throne. The great scholar of Islam, Imam Malik, tremendous scholar of Islam. Some man came to him from the Muslims and he wanted to argue and debate. How is Allah over that throne? I want to know how. And Imam Malik mentioned to that man the istiwa of Allah, Him being above, Him going over. That's well known to the Arabs. You ask any Arab who knows this language, he's going to say it means to go up into a sin. It is known what it means. How He did it is unknown. To believe it is wajib, and to ask about it and investigate it, that's an innovation. How do we know that Allah is over His throne and above in the heavens? There are 7 ayat that repeat the same thing over and over again. That Allah is mustawin ala al-arsh. He is over His throne in a way that befits His majesty. Another way, another tariqah that we know that Allah Azza wa Jal is above His throne is the word in Arabic, which is al-fawqiyah. That ayat of the Quran and ahadith, many, they describe that that Allah Azza wa Jal is above. Ayat. He said about Himself, وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِي. Allah is Al-Qahir. You're Abdul Qahir. I'm Abdul Qahir. From His names is He is Al-Qahir, the one who is mighty. He is dominant. He said that He is Al-Qahir and He is above His creation. He's above His servants. In another ayah, He described the malaika subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He said about the malaika, يَخَافُونَ رَبَّهُمْ مِنْ فَوْقِهِمْ. Those angels, they fear their Lord who is above them. And every Muslim knows, every time people come together in any masjid, big or small, Mecca, Medina, Bayt al-Maqdis, any masjid, they read the book of Allah and they study the book of Allah between themselves. Every time that happens, sakina comes down upon them. The rahmah of Allah comes down upon them. And the malaika come down. The malaika in the heavens, a group of them come down. In addition to all of the malaika that are with each and every one of us already, all of the malaika who are writing, who comes into the door already, all of the malaika who, whatever they're doing, there are others who come down to listen to the khutbah. They don't come up, they don't come from the side, they come from the heavens. And Allah Azza wa Jal is above that. Allah is above that 7th heaven. So the point here is, there are so many ayat of the Quran, so many ahadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that describe that issue of above, al-fawqiyah. Yakhafuna rabbahum min fawqihim. They are fearful of their Lord who is above them. There is an angel who's responsible for blowing into the horn Yawmul Qiyamah. Allah created him and he's looking at the throne of Allah, and he's in the heavens, the Nabi said. He's looking up at the throne of Allah and he doesn't blink out of fear that he'll be commanded to blow the horn at the moment of blinking. And the ayat or the hadith said he's above. Allah is above him and he's looking at the throne of Allah. So the point here is, another way that the Quran establishes for us that Allah Azza wa Jalla is above, over the 7 heavens, is that issue of those ayat and ahadith that say he's above, he's above. In addition to that, There are many ayat in ahadith, Quranic ayat that describe the su'ud, that the things go up to Allah. Our deeds, our actions, our dua. The malaika, Jibreel, they go up to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in this third tariqah, from the many ayat, not one, not two, not three, from the many ayat he mentioned in the Quran, تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. The angels and Jibreel, they go up to Allah, they make the ascension, and they go up to Allah in a day that to your reckoning is like 5,000 years. Allah mentioned in another ayat the su'ud, things ascending up to him. إليه يسعد الكلم الطيب والعمل الصالح يرفعه. To Allah the good words go up to him and the good actions go up to him. Abdullah ibn Abbas, the companion of the Nabi who understood the Quran, he said about this that the good word, it is the dhikr of Allah, it's the salat that you make, it's the dhikr that you make, it's the khutbah that you give, it's the recitation of the Quran, it's your praising Allah in any shape, form, or fashion, it goes up to Allah. And the good deeds, Abdullah ibn Abbas said, all of the fara'id that you do like this Jummah, it goes up to Allah Azza wa Jal. In the hadith that was collected by Imam al-Tirmidhi, the companion Abdullah ibn Sa'ib, he said that the Prophet talked about, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the time in which the sun leaves the zenith and it makes the zawal. That time in the day, that time in the life of the Muslim, the Nabi said about that time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, innaha sa'atun tuftahu abwabu as-sama' فإني أحب أن يسعد لي فيها عمل صالح. Whenever the zenith, the sun goes past the zenith, midday, he said at that time there is an hour that the heavens are opened up. The doors of the heavens are opened up. And I want my deeds and I hope that my deeds will go up to Allah at that time. So there are too many ayat. Allah said about Isa ibn Maryam salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi, Ya Isa inni mutawaffik wa rafi'uka ilayh. Isa, I'm going to cause you to die. And that has multiple interpretations. One interpretation, I'm going to cause you to sleep. And I'm going to raise you up to me. Too many ayat, too many ahadith. Isa, I'm going to cause you to die. And I'm going to raise you up to me. So where is Allah speaking about this issue when he says he's going to raise Isa ibn Maryam up to him, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi? And if Isa ibn Maryam went up, as we believe, he's going to come back down. So all of those ayat, all of those ahadith, the fourth point. How do we know that Allah is above? All of those ayat that talk about the inzal and the tanzil and the nuzul, all of those ayats that talk about things coming down, they are points and indications that Allah is above. Isa is going to come down. Allah said in the Quran, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr. We revealed this book and send it down in laylatul qadr. Wa nazzalna al-hadid fihi ba'sun shadid. We send down the iron where people make guns or whatever and knives. With that iron, there's a lot of harm that can come through it. A lot of power and might comes from that iron. The ayah said we sent it down. وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَأَخْرَجْنَا بِهِ وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً مُبَارَكًا فَأَنبَتْنَا بِهِ جَنَّاتًا وَحَبَّ الْحَصِيدِ. We send down that rain from the sky and it's blessed. And as a result of that, the vegetation comes up. It's not okay and it's not acceptable for Muslims to come and debate about these issues. And people want to debate you about that, Ya Abdullah. The answer is the same answer of Al-Imam Malik. If he wants to debate you, if he doesn't like it, if he has a problem with it, you tell the individual, I know my religion. I don't have any problems with what these ayats are saying. You go look for someone who's on what you're on and debate him. When you people make dua, and when you make dua, naturally you're going to raise your hands like this to make dua to Allah. So even from the fitrah, this issue has been planted in the seed of Bani Adam. It's when his mind gets corrupted, he starts to have these debates and these doubts. He said, when you people make dua to Allah, ask Allah for the Jannatul Firdaus. He said, because the Jannatul Firdaus, wherever it is, above, he said that Jannatul Firdaus, it's okay, Sheikh. He said that the Jannatul Firdaus, it is in the middle of Al-Jannah. And it is the highest part of Al-Jannah, and above the Jannatul Firdaus is the throne of Allah. So these heavens that we have, this is part of our Iman. These earths, the 7 earths that we know about. There are some people who will come to you and argue and say, no, they're not 7 earths. We only know 1 earth. There are 7 earths, and there are 7 heavens. Above that 7th heaven, the Jannatul Firdaus, and above that is the throne of Allah. One hadith said that the roof of the Jannah, the highest Jannah, the roof of that is the throne of Allah. And those ayats that we mentioned, those 7 ayat, they establish that Allah Azza wa Jalla is over his arsh. And it's not for you or not for me to imagine how, when, and why. Although Allah Azza wa Jalla is above the 7 heavens and he's over his throne in a way that befits his majesty, he nonetheless is still with us. He established that in the Quran. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. He is with you wherever you go. You fly a plane, he's with you. Go in a submarine, he's with you. You're awake, he's with you. If you're asleep, he's with you. If you go into the cave, he's with you. وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. Allah is with those who have sabr. He's with those who have a taqwa. Allah Ta'ala mentioned the condition with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companion Abu Bakr. إِذْ يَقُلْ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. When they were in the cave and he was with his companion, he told Abu Bakr, don't worry, don't be sad, don't worry, don't be afraid. Allah is with us. He's the third of the 2. Never is there najwa, a group of people come and they want to plot in secret. They can be 3, they can be 4, they can be 5, more or less. Allah is with them. Allah is with the munafiqeen. Allah is with everyone. But he's with the people how? He's with the people in his ability to see from where he is. He's with the people in his ability to hear. He's with the people in his ability of the knowledge, the powerful knowledge that he has. I want to be on the way of the people of Ahlul Hadith, starting off with the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He asked the little girl Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, hey little girl, where is Allah? The little girl said, over the heavens. She had no philosophy, no philosophical approach. Who am I, little girl? She said, you're Rasulullah. He told the man, free this girl. She's a believer. She's a mu'mina. The one who knows that and understands that, that's part of the aqeedah of a person who has correct iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our aqeedah and protect the aqeedah of our shabab. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla don't allow us to check out of this hayat dunya except that we know who he is, where he is, what he does, and that we know our religion and we know in detail who that man was that he sent to us. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Aqimus salat yarhamakumullah.